Hello, my name is Francis Fox, and I'm trained in remote viewing, interspecies communication, all the psychic abilities that all human beings have. At this point in my life, have combined a lot of information together, and I share and teach, even in my corporate work, what's a combination of Tantric Buddhism and shamanism. I'm not going to go into any depth about that right now because I have too many interesting things happening in the news. There was a frequency shift that finished yesterday. Well, yesterday morning, I got up on X to get my news. I saw so many articles that had to do with stuff that we kind of know instinctively, but we've not been given permission to accept, such as the depth of our pets, their language, their consciousness, this whole thing on DMT, which I see occasionally. But like every single thing was stuff that's really like alternative, and it's going to become mainstream, and that's really good, because if we just stay the old mainstream, we're not going to be ready for all the changes we're going to get. Back to frequency shift. We completed on Tuesday a frequency shift, and I had told my followers from Venezuela that they needed to get their act together, having to do with what their intentions were, because by after Tuesday they weren't going to be able to shift, I guess, destiny or something. So today's Thursday. So where did you land? On what side of the line of the ascension shift, of the frequency shift, did you land on? YouTube does not like anything having to do with the information about the planet splitting into two separate planets due to two frequencies that simply do not resonate and cannot be in the same space. Space being planet Earth. They don't like that. So, oh, that must mean it's important. So I'm going to go on to a little bit of fun stuff. And I don't know what to classify it under, but when you know enough and you get your proper, the level of spirit guides that you would want, because sometimes we don't want the spirit guides at our level because we're not in a great place. Life is going to be so much easier, so much more interesting. And as my process of evolution moves, I recognize that when we say somebody's like really intelligent and really this and really that, it's because they are reaching the information in the other dimensions. And when we talk about artists, I think they're actively working with their spirit guides. Let me give you a mundane example: my hair, my very famous hair. So I was going to put highlights in it because just with the cellophanes, it's too dark and I can't go to a beauty shop because of all the bad guys that haven't been picked up yet. So, okay. So I'm doing the highlights. And interesting, I'm getting interfered with. Whoa. So I'm getting ready. I open the box and they have conditioner and shampoo. So I put them someplace. And then when I'm getting ready to take it off, and normally I would just simply throw that out because I have too many of those little containers. No, I was guided to put it in my makeup kit right there next to the shower. And then when I was in the shower, the streaks that I put on it this morning, if you're not careful, they end up looking like neon lights in orange. They look terrible. And normally, again, I would have thrown away those little packages, and I was guided not to. And then I was guided to use the package, those two packages. Okay, so I opened one up. I shampooed my hair. The shampoo was purple. Ah, that's the color you have to put on your hair if you don't want your highlights to be brassy. But it wasn't my idea. I would have never used that shampoo. But my guide said, use the shampoo. And when I opened it and I saw the purple, I went, wow. There's a series of things that I could tell you about my hair and the product and the second to second guidance from my spirit guides, that if you really take that in, you'll go, Francis, I want to be the first one in all your classes. I want that kind of guidance. That's just about my hair and products. Can you imagine if you're running a company? And I only gave you that because it's a cute example. But when I used to do executive coaching decades ago, for a big bank, and it was a big secret that I worked there. Somebody said, "Where do you get the information from?" And I went, "Okay, wait, let me think a second, because I get it from so many different places at one time." But right here were spirit guides, which I didn't tell them because they wouldn't have believed it. But that was when I went, so they're feeding me information and it's augmenting my ability to make great decisions. Well, who the hell is making the decisions? We don't really know that those spirit guides aren't an extension of you, but they're definitely a separate shape. And outside, they're not inside. So let's continue on. Facebook has me on a suicide hotline. When I go into not YouTube. Somebody's blocking me from saying YouTube. Zuckerberg, you need to wake up. What's the matter? Did you think the bad guy's going to win and that you could continue to get away with this? You didn't make any adjustments? Facebook also has a thing there. Do you need help? Here's a suicide hotline. So YouTube sent something, and I didn't. Yes, I need to get it up for you because I think you may have a little bit of a good laugh with this. Give me a second, because hopefully it will not take more than that. This was funny. Okay. And this was shown yesterday. It came up in one of my followers when she was looking at one of my videos. And this is what came out. At top it says, "How fun was this video?" She's watching the video. I think the one at the bottom. Not fun, very fun, extremely fun. The most fun thing I've seen this week. There's a problem with that. First place, if you look at this, you're laughing because of the dolphin and you're kind of going, "Oh, because of my little dog." But darn. Um, all sorts of strange things are happening to my followers. People contacting them in the chats, but the part that I don't see here on Restream, but is on YouTube, and then following up on that, and then strange things happening. My videos in English on YouTube are totally controlled. Go and see them. I'm going to do an experiment and document it, and we will be able to see that they're controlling the numbers. So the Mexican girl that has a 12-hour shift, she's not going to get into trouble. The person's going to get into trouble is the person at the top, which is Zuckerberg. I don't have a lot of followers precisely because of people like Zuckerberg. But maybe what I'm saying is of enough importance that I can have the support of important people to deal with a situation that's really not fair, particularly to the small guys. I don't consider myself a small guy, even though I have less numbers than anybody else. But who decides those numbers? The number of viewers or the people who are on the platform? Talking about pattern, and I want to constantly be teaching you about how to apply this other dimensional information into your life, or to come to recognize that it's important enough that you want to know more. Talking about lawsuits, everybody has a pattern. I mean, Elon and Trump had patterns of people going after them with lawsuits. They seem to be correcting that very nicely, thank you. When I was thinking in terms of lawsuits, the number of people from the post office, no mail in a year, lots of court cases going on around me, never got any information, to all sorts of individuals, the HIPAA law having to do with one place where I lived. So I started to think, well, what is my pattern with lawsuits? And then I realized that many years ago, Miami is a city with a lot of tricksters and mafias that know how to handle the whole construction building situation. So there was a new area that was going up. I think it was called Fontainebleau Park, and you could reserve an apartment for $5,000. And the price of the apartment was not that big. It was not a luxury place. So my husband and I did that. We reserved 2 apartments, and my stepmother wanted to get in on it because she knew we kind of knew more than she did about money, so she did. So I don't know how many months later I get a letter and it says, "Oh, gee, you know what? The price on the apartments have really gone up, so we can't sell them to you at that price. We had contracts. And so if you want to buy it again, this is the price. I was so furious. And my husband said, what are we going to do? I said, well, we're going to sue them. Well, you know, we're not going to win. I said, but that's not the point. The point is not, the point is to make a point, to make a statement, and not to make it so easy for these guys. We hired a really good lawyer. And so we didn't let go. Come on, my lawyer said to me, you really should let this go. You know, he had gone to play tennis with the opposing lawyer. That now that I think about it, all those people were Coven people, people into Santeria and all the rest of that. Not my lawyer, he was an Anglo, whatever, the other ones were. I didn't get it. I said, he went to play tennis with him. Who knows if he ate some food? Oh, here, give this to your mother. And so I said, I'm not letting it go. So they called for mediation. So in one room is the guy that sold the properties, and now he was going to sell for a higher price, even with a contract, and his lawyer in my room, my husband, me, and my lawyer. So my lawyer said, okay, they're going to settle for this amount of money. And I looked at him and I said, why on earth would we settle for that amount of money if from day one I told you I really didn't care about the money? They wanted to settle out of court. No, it's either this amount of money, which would have been fair, or it's not going to happen. We're going to court. I'm not letting this go. So he looked at me and I said, I really hope you enjoyed that tennis match with the opposing team. When he walked out of the room, he was furious. And my husband looked at me and said, oh my God, what are you doing? I said, you know what? I'm taking a stand. We got the amount of money that we said that would make it enough to where it would hurt the developer. And maybe they won't do that again, which was my entire point. We could deal with it, but not the other people. What's my point? My point is not to continue talking about me. My point is you have patterns. So now I know my pattern having to do with me deciding to take a stand. I have a great pattern. Where do you have patterns where you need mantras to purify them? Maybe you lost a silly court case years ago and you need to take care of it because maybe there's something bigger coming up. We're going to go back to the frequency 988, which I found out in one of my workshops that it is the ideal frequency and the natural frequency of your coccyx. Yes, your coccyx. It's a not pleasant frequency at all. We're getting a video made up, so you'll be able to have it for free on my YouTube. And then the gnomes, yes, the gnomes, the elves, that are our spirit guides in the coccyx, tell me that the coccyx, when it vibrates properly, its frequency is 988. Wow. And what is stopping my coccyx or anybody else's coccyx from radiating 988? Traumas that are not resolved. Your father beat you, your mother abandoned you, your sister was disloyal and sold you down the river, whatever. It has to be when you're young. And you haven't purified it. That's why the mantras are they're so easy, cheap. Okay, you don't do mantras, it's okay. If you haven't dealt, and just talking to your therapist doesn't work. This is a literal, in the other dimensions, congestion. It's not a word thing and a concept thing. So anyway, so you have to continue to clear those root issues. The coccyx is at the end of your system. But then comes the other part. They said the third pyramid in Egypt, and somebody sent me the name of it. I don't know what it is. The point of that pyramid has the frequency of 988. Wow. So your coccyx has the same frequency as the point of that particular pyramid. I don't know the difference of the pyramid. That's why this Hancock guy needs to contact me so we can put the two things together, whatever. So the point of the pyramid, 988 frequency, hertz, whatever, hertz frequency, the point of the coccyx, 988. So the pyramid points up. The coccyx points down. And if you put them together, you start to have the Merkaba. And if they open up, then you get a complete channel. And then, according to the dolphins, you get superpowers, miracles. You channel the frequency that Egypt channeled. They reached incredible heights in Egypt, which we have not achieved, even remotely. But it's a frequency. But it's a frequency there, but you got to be vibrating at that frequency and in a particular place. So now, guess what talk about reversals. The bad guys are so good at all this stuff, and you guys don't even, you're still, I wonder if I believe her. She's a setup. She's trying to set us up. We're going to follow her, and at some point, she's going to take us down the river. Whatever. Don't go down the river. If I decide to take you down the river, just don't go down the river. Okay. Reversals are important. The suicide hotline is 988. Now it's called the suicide hotline. The coccyx, the frequency of 988 would indicate tremendous rooting and grounding. If you are suicidal, you are not rooted and grounded. So it's like a complete opposite. I think that the 988 frequency is used and abused in the military mind control program. So I don't think it's a coincidence that the suicide hotline in a nation that has allowed the really bad guys with a lot of other dimensional knowledge to run the nation, that's not a coincidence. It's just not a coincidence. If you are vibrating in your coccyx, you are not suicidal. On the contrary, you are magical. So let's get to the map and talk about another kind of map. You like feng shui? Okay, then you might like this. This is the map today of the United States. So at the top, Canada's X out, and it said they held the funeral yesterday. I forgot the L at the end of funeral. Something's going on with me in language. Anyway, they held a funeral yesterday, so something must have happened yesterday that was like a bottom line with Canada. The United States is still spiraling and grounding the energy of love. This is wonderful. Florida got its shine back. It's green, the color of the heart chakra. I don't know if I saw something on X. I'm too scared to be optimistic and to read it. But it seems like there is a reconciliation or reconciling between Trump and Elon, which is critical for this country, but it's critical for a different reason than what I would have thought. Let me go down to the bottom. Mexico is shining and Mexico is grateful. So I don't know what Trump is doing for Mexico, but Mexico is. Let me do this other thing. At the bottom of the map, it says civilian rebellion against military control of the United States. Now, I don't decide what I am going to share. My intention sets that information. I want to share what's important, what we need to take care of today. Not everything is too much. And then I have to entertain. I have to show your attention span is too short. I don't add stuff and I don't decide to put something. I would have never put that down. How can you be looking so great and it says civilian rebellion against military control of the US? Well, I thought about it for 2 seconds. So this is my opinion. That statement stands. This is my opinion, and I could have it angled. Too many people are frustrated. I said that from before Trump. Even the people that are bad because they're illegal, they're in panic attacks. That's a frequency. That's not good for the country. Then you have all the people that were staunchly democratic and they lost. Another down. And then we have those people looking so dumb with all the stuff that's being revealed. Down more. And then now we're going to go against Congress. I'm not against any of this stuff. But They said Revelations was going to be apocalyptic, and that's what it is. We're trying to prevent it from being too apocalyptic. And then you got the whole Congress thing, which basically makes the whole country look dumb. But I like that guy. What happened? That's another story. So I think, Trump, that this is an opinion of mine. We're getting too many images of people being picked up by ICE. And you may have put masks on their faces, which I don't disagree with or agree with. So I don't have an opinion. But ICE is the ultimate, not the ultimate, but is a very strong reminder of authority, male dominated authority, abusive, which is the paradigm that collapsed. We're into now circular community, age of Aquarius. What would have sustained male dominated, abusive hierarchy is not supported, which means ICE is not going to be supported. The concept of ICE is not going to be supported. I'm not saying you have to eliminate that. I think you need to do damage control. And I think that this statement I'm going to agree with. Military civilian rebellion against military control of the United States. When I was in the Everglades and they had me in the swamp, drugged, and they were making me think I was killing, I was leaving a baby behind and it would die. There were Marines sitting there watching me. They're caught up with everything. I know there's a deep state above them. I'm not going after that. Okay, that's somebody else's job. This whole military thing is too dominant in this country. They go to other countries and they incite wars, and then they go in and have to take over, and they change governments. All that stuff that came out makes us look bad, and then it make we're there's a too much frustration with male dominated hierarchy, and ICE looks like male dominated hierarchy that is now doing something abusive, which is obviously taking families away from each other and children. And I don't agree with that. They're doing whatever it is that they're doing. They seem to be going after the guys that we don't want here anyway. What I'm saying, Trump, into this country, if that came up on that map, this is a problem. So take care of it now. And I don't think a mantra is going to take care of that. It's too many frustrated people and too many images of the stormtroopers all wore white. I mean, I don't need to say anything further. I was not expecting that at all. Interesting. 988 frequency, the number for suicide. But 988 frequency is not suicide. Who made that choice? Look that up. DMT works, stimulates the coccyx in less than 15 seconds, from what I read. I don't know, maybe it was 15 minutes. It doesn't matter. I'm not suggesting you use it. DMT. You take it and you see gnomes, Gnomes. The cute fairies in Ireland, except they're not in Ireland. They're in between your legs, around your coccyx. And they are spirit guides, and they have a sense of humor. And they actually do help, and they do show up. So you can go ahead, keep saying, it must be my imagination. You know what the biggest thing to training people to really honor what's in the other dimensions, to be able to take advantage of it, is that they don't trust what they see. But you're seeing it. Well, yeah, but I don't know. Would you make this up? No, I would never make this up. So you're seeing it? Yeah, I'm seeing it. Well, then it is. So just know that for who knows how long, you're going to go, I think I saw something. What's something? Well, it kind of looked like a person, but not here, like maybe what, a spirit. And you're going to go, no, no. And that's okay. And then remember my words. You are your biggest block to being functional in the other dimensions. So we have the 988 frequency, which in this country means suicide, which is the opposite. We have DMT running in all of them. The only one thing they see in common, and I'm going to repeat this as many times as I want, is that they see gnomes and they don't get it. Well, that's because they're in the coccyx. Their consciousness is in their coccyx. And then, no, the gnomes, by the way, are a version, or Merlin is a version of the gnomes. So is Santa Claus. So they're real. They're real, just not in a physical dimension. And that is an assistance that you have. You have your own set of gnomes. In order to get from there to the magic superpowers, you have to be relatively trauma free. You don't have a trauma imprinted on your energy system and on your mind. Okay, so this is the interesting part. The tying it together. This is what I love. Texas would be the coccyx of this country. So the coccyx is what? The coccyx is the connection between the tip of the pyramid that has to do with magic, miracles, just making things happen. And it is Texas, where Elon Musk is. That is a coincidence, Francis. No, it's not. No, it's not. Is that the reason? Let me see if I can angle this so you can actually see it. There you go. Is this the reason for two eclipses across Texas? For the flooding of the rivers? For these other weird things that are happening? Is this to break the coccyx of this country? Those are the kind of questions that I ask for you to think, but it's also because I'm thinking about it. Because when the issue of the two eclipses was up, my group, we worked a lot on clearing and clearing and clearing and clearing Texas. And it keeps getting hit by different things. So I think that the issue is hitting the frequency of this country so that it doesn't vibrate where it should in Texas at 988, and it doesn't connect to a vibration that is brought in from off planet from the tip of that third pyramid. And then this country would be just doing the unimaginable in terms of creation, miracles, superpowers. So again, this puts Elon front and center, which makes him a target. I think he's winning lawsuits, so I think we don't have to worry about his pattern with lawsuits. The thing I worry about the most about him is the mommy and me, whatever. You have a physical body, you have a spirit body, but you have a physical body. You have to take care of it. When you don't, which is what he did when he did Doge, then things start to break down. And you had the trouble with Trump. I think he also had a surgery that I believe I saw that more than once. You have to take care of home base, and then you can keep jumping off and coming back and jumping up. But home base has to be taken care of, and home base for Elon, for you, is your physical body. So we need Elon. We need Elon. People need to be afraid of trying to take him down. People are now afraid of trying to take Trump down because the spirits will take and weaponize people's frustrations. Okay, so that's the statement. In terms of the statement about civilian rebellion against military control of the United States, the weaponizing of people's frustrations, the images and the way it's being handled very professionally, but very military. And I feel that was done to let these people know, the whole world know, this is not a game. And we will do whatever's necessary, including military, to take care of this. Totally support that. But it's still looking too military. That's no longer supported, as I said earlier. And then you got all these frustrated people, and very easy to weaponize that frustration. Okay. Last thing, in terms of my situation with telling my handler's name, Rene de Villega, with a daughter who's a lawyer in Miami and sons that are in construction, and families and kids at universities my kids go to, friends with the entire power structure plus contacts in the Southern Command. I'm not saying the Southern Command is an issue, but he has people that he's bribed there forever. What's going on with them? I'm not able to see a lot, which of course they're setting that up, but there is a group that they contacted, they work with, they're paying now, that was working. I don't think they worked last night with magic, but I mean like the highest level of magic to take me down, to split me. Not easy dealing with that. And then, of course, they are, every time I give a chat, they're doing stuff. So at this point, that's what's going on. I think revelations helped my revelations, and the frequency shift helped my frequency shift. So give me a second because there was something else that was pretty important. Panama. This, I'm interesting. Perhaps, see, I can be a diplomat. I can, really. Perhaps Panama needs to be looked at. Now, perhaps Panama is being set up to be the next sex trafficking center having to do with that Underground Railroad. Perhaps there's all sorts of people gravitating over there. Oh, I think I want to be in Panama. So perhaps the lists from the airlines coming in because they're all getting ready for maybe your takedown, Trump, you taking down the center here, which may be in Florida, and they're getting ready, they're gearing up to take it on. Perhaps. Last statement. I'm not sure that anybody on the military base that we have in Panama could possibly be trusted. Chances are they are mind control victims. And don't send anybody there that is not totally grounded, because the level of black magic there, interesting. Thank you for joining me. There's a lot of good news. The frequency shift was great. Okay? And I give what I get. And I only get it because my masters have already edited, screen checked it, background checks to ensure that I don't get into trouble. Thank you for joining me. I'm Francis Fox. Stay a little bit longer because we have some music that is very relaxing to the tension in your shoulders and